Okay.
Damn it, Jacob.
You're good, brother. You're good. Cool. All right. Who would like to take us next on the next win from this week?
I can go. First of all, Jacob, didn't you say something about getting an auto recorder? What happened to that, man?
He's putting you on the spot, brother.
Well, it does auto record, but it starts at the very beginning when it's just like sometimes me and Gabe chilling in here. So I pause it and start when you got. Anyways, you got me, Martin. I'll be better.
Got it. Yeah, my win is that I made a new friend last year, a few months before I started this program, and she was one of the people that inspired me to do this program in the first place. Because she was talking about how she was going to the gym, meanwhile I was binge eating and drinking, and I was just like, I was feeling the need to be a better person in general, but also to be able to make sure that I could be someone that she could like. Yeah. And about a week or two ago, she told me that she sees me as her best friend, which is something that I've never really heard from someone before. So that was really flattering. That felt really, really great.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's super validating when you have someone tell you that they see you in a light as high as you see them. Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations, brother. Congratulations. That's a great win. Thank you so much for sharing that. Awesome stuff. Daniel, how about you, my friend? Biggest win from this past week?
So I mean, I've actually had quite a few wins that I think are really, really good to mention. So there's tons of PRs when it comes to the workouts, especially legs. That's a big win for me.
Hack squat king.
Dude, oh no, not hack squat king. Just getting started.
Yourself, that's all that matters, brother.
I was sitting in on some piano lessons not too long ago, and that was a big stretch of my comfort zone. But when I'm uncomfortable, I know God's there with me because I need to rely on him more. So that's and I might be taking up some lessons at my local music shop here, so on Saturdays, and so that'll be a cool move if that happens. And
awesome.
I would say the two biggest ones for me have been God spoke to me directly last night, and I just felt like I had to drive somewhere and then sit in a parking lot, and then I was like, okay, what do you want me to do? And he goes, open to John 4:26, and I don't know if you know what John 4:26 says, but I was wondering if God was speaking to me directly at all in that moment in time. And then when I opened up to that verse, it said, I who speak to you am he. So I'm like, all right, I'm here, I'm listening. And I didn't know it said that. And so I thought that was really cool. And then, yeah, dude, I was like, all right, I'm listening. And then the biggest one, I mean, that's biggest, but second biggest would be I really did have a tough stretch for 3 weeks, but it was I didn't fall. I just lost my footing, and again, Gabe knows exactly how he found me when I first got into this program. And when I used to fall, it was a tough fall, but yeah, I just lost my footing a little bit. I didn't relapse into anything. I kept up with nutrition, and so yeah, those are, I'm happy about all those.
Amazing, man.
That's amazing. That feels really good. I think it's really important to measure, because obviously we all have test days. Nobody's perfect. It's really powerful to measure how far you fall when you have your test days progressively, because when you measure oh my gosh, I'm not falling as far as I used to, that shows that you have a new floor, right? That you're progressing overall. This is something that I'm going to be completely transparent with all of you guys. In February, our company as a whole had a down month compared to January. And anytime as a business owner, you don't double the business the next month. You're like, what are we doing wrong? Right. Which obviously is unrealistic, but you just have extremely high standards. And so we had a little bit of a down month in February. And, energy was kind of low in our team meetings. Oh man, it sucks. We're getting a little agitated at each other. But when we looked at it, man, that down month was a record month in November. Like just, you know what I mean? Like that would have been a record month just a few months prior. So just seeing like measuring like objectively, like we're falling. When we fall, we're still higher than where we used to be is really empowering, right? We have a new floor. We have a new standard. So I love that, Daniel. Great stuff, man. Jack, what about you, my friend?
This was a little bit over a week ago, but I wasn't here last week. So it was just basically how I handled the wedding that I went on for my cousins. We went to this out of the way bay area, and just the way I handled it, I didn't drink at all. It doesn't really interest me. I was always out looking out for the frog or the protein. I just literally didn't touch any of the snacks or anything till I had my protein. So like the dinner was steak, which was very good. There's no salt and pepper on the steak, which is kind of a bit annoying, but anyways. And the other thing as well is just like on 2 out of the 3 days, I went for like barefoot, shirtless walks on the beach all the way up to the lighthouse and back, which is about 5 or 6 kilometers every day in the morning before the wedding as well.
That's awesome, man. Dude, that's great. Like, I love how you handle that, right? You know, you had your protein first, which is like just the default, especially if you're continuing to try and really lose fat when you're in a situation, a social eating situation that you can't really, measure things perfectly accurately. And then hitting your barefoot, shirtless walks on the beach, 5 to 6 kilometers. That's right up our alley, man. That's like what we'd all be doing if we were somewhere else for a vacation. So yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Love it. All right. I know Drew and Vinny, y'all are muted. So beautiful, awesome, cool. Go ahead, Drew, man.
Yeah, I can go real quick.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I'm walking around the store right now, so I'll be quick. But hit the 50-pound mark, crack that. So that was a big thing for me. Kind of now it's like, okay, I gotta hit that 60-pound mark. But so it's always that next step. But yeah, that was a big one. Also, I mentioned on Monday's call about like, a lot of kind of a little bit of negativity coming from family, friends, that type of thing. And I had mentioned it briefly with Jack yesterday, but I had a pretty good interaction, I guess, with my mom on Monday night. We went out to dinner with some family, and she like noticeably changed from like the weekend to then. So like I had a conversation with her over the weekend about like positivity and like activity and that type of thing, and all of a sudden that Monday night after dinner, she's like, "Yeah, you notice I was really positive tonight." And she also mentioned that she started like taking walks during the day, which is not her thing. So just was pretty happy to see some positive impacts. And I just wanted to mention that. Like I said, I talked to Jack about it yesterday, but just wanted to mention on this call as well.
Yeah, I love that, man. Thank you for sharing that win. Thank you for giving us kind of a window into your personal life too, man. Yes, Vinny, but that's great. I think you're gonna start to see a lot more of that take place, like your impact, your influence on the people who you love, right? Like we continue to talk about, I believe it was Monday, but the idea is the business analogy of like, if your product is good enough, you won't have trouble finding customers. If the product is good enough, you won't have trouble influencing people around you. Right. And you're already starting to see that take place. So really good job, Drew.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good. Thanks.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Vinny, my no strip king. What is up, brother?
MSC.
No strip king.
Yes.
I've done a lot today. I'm just seeing this thing just doesn't want to fall off. I kind of just usually it comes off like in the shower, but I swam today. I ran, I worked out, and it's still going strong. So I'm just see how long it lasts.
Awesome.
My win, I would say, is from today, actually. I got up earlier than usual. I won't say how early because it was nothing crazy. I think it's more about the principle. I got up the earliest I've gone up in a while. Historically, I'd be the guy who's like, oh, I'm not a morning person. My brain's not on before like 9 a.m. I can't tell you last time I've been to the gym before like noon. But anyway, got up early this morning, went right to the gym. And it's no coincidence. It's magical almost. I think I had the most productive day that I've had in like months. Like before 2 p.m., I had, gone to the gym, gone for a 7.5 mile run, gone for a swim. I put out a Substack article today. So I've been having myself a day here all before like 3 p.m. And I said it's magical. I'm sure it's actually something very scientific explanation for, you know, getting up and the importance of movement and waking up earlier. It's does a lot of good for you.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Most productive day in months. Waking up earlier than usual, hitting the gym first thing, dude. That's a huge win. Do you think you're gonna continue that streak of first thing when you wake up workouts?
I gotta say, I think I might have to, just because like I see a huge difference. Like usually it really the mornings are usually like very slow to start. You know, I kind of take a while to get going. And like, yeah, just seeing how today went, like absolutely. And I actually, funny enough, like I got up at like 7 today. Usually I get up probably closer to 8. And it was actually like easier to wake up at 7. Like I have a harder time getting up at 8. So I don't know if it's like closer to my circadian rhythm or something, but kind of want to keep pushing that. Let's see how early we could go. So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it going.
Yeah, brother, constantly play with that, man, because I couldn't tell you over the past 2-3 years how much I played with that morning routine, man, and just dialing in and getting it right. And what you're going to find as well is there's going to be time periods where that really suits you. And then you're going to find yourself transitioning. You're like, this doesn't really suit me. Don't feel bad about it. If you're like me, I'm very schedule oriented and I get very distressed when that schedule gets disoriented. However, you got to go with the flow sometimes. You got to be easy on yourself. You know, you said you got up early. I got up early today. I pulled a 5 a.m. However, there's a loophole here. I am on Eastern time typically. I came to Central time, which is an hour back. I typically get up at 6 anyway. I'm like, I'm going to get at 5 today. 5 is technically 6 o'clock my circadian time because I'm in Eastern time. So I was a 5 a.m. guy today, but technically per my internal clock, it was 6 a.m. But I felt proud about that.
Yeah. That's a really great point, Alex, that I love to make anytime we discuss like training times, because training in the morning absolutely gets romanticized and there are so many benefits to it, right? Especially the fact that your cortisol is typically peaking right when you wake up, and being in that higher stress state is beneficial to training, plus training itself keeps it high. So you have a little bit of a better pattern, but there's utility to working out in the middle of the day too. If that suits you for a season of life, there's also utility to working out at the end of the day. If that suits you for a season of life. Like one of the things I'm doing now is I'm working out first thing in the morning, but I'm training jujitsu at the end of the night, most nights throughout the week. The reason that suits me is because right now my fiance has a schedule in the evenings where she's coming home later. So I'm either going to be sitting down, just entertaining myself at the end of the evening, or doing jujitsu. And so that schedule just suits me in this season of life. I'm sure 100% when my fiance's schedule changes, and maybe now I have some more time with her in the evening, I might be a little bit more of a morning jiu-jitsu type person, right? And it's totally about just weighing the benefits and the pros and the cons of whatever training time it is, and using them for whatever season of life you're in.
How much of it, like Alex, I think you make a point, just like kind of listening to your body. How much do you think is that versus just sometimes kind of like changing up the routine helps with like the monotony of the day to day? Like I feel like that could be a big part too, like some fresh.
I don't know if you've ever read The Morning Miracle by Hal Elrod. He has
Miracle Morning, yes sir.
He has I don't know if you know anything about his backstory, but he has an amazing story of how he came to that book anyway. It's just absolutely crazy, the adversity that guy went through with cancer, saying he's going to die. He didn't die. He came up with this. But anyway, I was doing that Morning Miracle routine for like 6 months, dude, on par. And then I thought I had to do that the rest of my life to be successful. But then I started realizing like, hey, I need to go with the flow of life. Like Gabe was saying, I need to cut things out. I need to put things in, like what stage of life am I in right now? And then go from there and not be so harsh on myself. Because of course, at the end of the day, like I'm my own worst critic. I will beat me down more than anything that you guys can tell me. I say it 100 times worse to myself. So I think it's just like figuring out what you're at, figuring out what serves you, and then just move forward. Like my morning routine right now looks night and day different than what it was 6 months ago. And it serves me well right now. And I think a part of it is the monotony of life as well. You like to shake things up. It's like the same thing at the gym. Do you do the same routine the rest of your life? No, you shake it up. Why? It keeps us interested. And the biggest word that we always say here in Default Kings, sustainable. Mm-hmm. Is it sustainable?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can't tell you how many conversations I've had with guys before joining that one of the number one stressors that would throw them off track is when they would mess up their morning routine. Like, oh, I didn't hit the gym first thing in the morning, so I'm just going to wait until, Monday starts, right? Yep. That's the same way I used to be. And it's dangerous when we attach a piece of our identity to a specific like time of training, something that really is arbitrary. Some people will attach their identity to like a style of training too. Like I am a power lifter. So like if I hurt my back and can't deadlift, like I'm not going to train. Right? That's a dangerous place to be, is attaching our identity to these arbitrary physical things. The time you train, the style that you train, the gym that you train, right? How much you train. It's way more important to have an identity attached to, am I the person who is able to sustain healthy habits? Can I get done what needs to get done, even if I don't work out first thing in the morning? Even if I don't do, my 2-hour cold shower, 15 cups of black coffee, 50 pages of journaling, read 5 books, and write an essay before the day starts. That classic, joke. So yeah, really interesting point about not attaching our identity to the arbitrary parts of your physical tasks, more having an identity that's aligned with the fact that I do physical tasks consistently, right? Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Let's see who else. Jared, dude, what's up, man? Appreciate you joining us.
Go ahead.
Heck yeah. I was gonna say, not sure if you're able to share wins, but if you are, man, we'd love to hear your biggest win from this past week.
Well, I lost my hockey championship, so that wasn't my win. Alex knows
Well,
about
that's not a good start to the conversation, Jared.
No, but you know what? A personal glory wise, not that team sports are about personal glory, but I took 5 years off from playing. Okay, I'll put it this way. You know what? Actually, here's my win. Okay, so when I started in September and I was 218 pounds, I wasn't keeping up too well. I hadn't played in 5 years and I was overweight.
Yeah.
I had my lowest weigh-in today, 180.6.
Nice.
And I was probably I was always one of the more skilled guys on my team, one of the better players. So it was tough for me coming back and being sort of at the bottom.
Yeah.
So when the time we got to the last game, I was one of the guys they put on the ice. I was like for the game tying goal at the end, even though we didn't get it, I was taking the face-offs. I don't know if you guys know hockey, but that's
you lost me there, but keep going.
Sorry. That's an important thing. Like they drop the puck. It's like the tip off in basketball, right? So possession is important, right?
Yeah.
So my personal win was I scored a big goal in the game to start our comeback because we were down 3-0. I scored to make it 3-1. So anyways, I guess to kind of summarize that, I went from being just a guy on the team that hadn't played, that was feeling like, man, I can't do this. I remember my first week I got hit so hard. My shoulder was hurting. My chest felt like it was caving in. So I'm on the bench and I want to get back out there and play the next shift, right? Because I got so much energy now. And you guys know me as the energy guy. I'm not normally this crazy, but I do have a lot of energy. It's my personality. And so I went from kind of just, being on the team to being one of the go-to guys. And that's a personal win for me. So even though the team didn't win, I felt good. They invited me to come back next year. And so yeah, I'm really, really happy about that. And our baseball season's coming up, and this is another good one. So we're ordering jerseys for baseball, and I talked to the rep, and he's like, I'm my team captain, so I'm organizing all the jerseys, and everyone's like, hey, what's the sizing chart? What's the sizing chart? So the guy sends me the chart, and he says, well, you should probably get a size up unless you're ripped, then it fits. And I'm like, wow. Actually, I'm kind of getting ripped, so I'm just gonna get a large, and I'm gonna rock that large. And if it fills out my arms, that's good. But last season, I would have been getting a size up. So there's some wins right there.
Dude, that's awesome. Those are huge wins. Those are huge wins. I just need to say that, man. Man, your wins are awesome, right? Just going from barely surviving till your chest is caving in when you first got back in hockey to being one of the vital assets of your team, getting invited back to play for the team, and getting that shirt that's going to fit because you're continuing to get more and more ripped. By the way, I think I just need to point out, man, that your energy is contagious. I think that as you continue to build yourself, you're just going to have more and more influence over people and more contagious energy. And every time you hop into a room, people are going to be like, man, that's the happiest guy I've ever met. I want to be more like him. I want to hang out with him. So dude, don't ever, foster that. Just continue leaning on it. It's only going to become more powerful as you build yourself.
Awesome. I'll tell you one more quick thing. So I went to charity gala on the weekend. It's like think of like a banquet hall wedding, 400 people, open bar, you know, food. They did what do you call it? Like auction, silent auction, live auction. It was a charity event, right? And my wife is one of her friends. Anyways, this is a place where if you're going to drink, you're going to have, you know, this is the spot. I didn't have a single drink. And not only that, but I was telling the bartender when I was getting my pineapple soda about my 30-day detox and how I'm not drinking and I'm in a period of abstinence. Then he started asking questions about, what do you mean? I said, because of my dopamine, I'm trying to get back to baseline.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, my wife would go up to get a glass of wine and the bartender kept saying, oh, what your husband is doing is amazing. Like, I want to try that now. Right. And it's like, you're so right. It's infectious. It's like when you really spread, you know, like your aura to the people around you. Right. And hell, even Alex, man, I was pumping up the 30 days of abstinence to him. And I was like, dude, like, it's just like,
He was.
It just, you take something out of your life and you do it for a good reason and you want to grow yourself as a man. There's good reasons you do things. And then when you get excited about that and you tell people, that's contagious. Right.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Man, that's great stuff, brother.
Love you guys.
Love you too, man. Appreciate you sharing that. Appreciate you constantly bringing the energy. Appreciate you doing the work that you do. Good work, brother. All right, guys. Let's transition here to the training tactics. I'm going to open up the last few minutes for general Q&A, but I want to talk about a specific subject today when it comes to training because we have the event, the Default Kings Retreat coming up this weekend, and there's going to be some physical challenges that we put you guys through that I want you guys to be mentally prepared for. And even if you're not going to be participating in that retreat, I know a few of y'all here will be there. This information, sorry, there's like something coming out of my throat or something there. I'm usually a pretty clear, just straight talker, but just, you know, we all have our moments. This information is something that you'll be able to use and constantly pull on throughout physical challenges in the future, not just specifically what we're doing in the retreat. What I want to discuss today is, and I want this to be somewhat of a discussion, open floor discussion. So I want to hear y'all's ideas and thoughts too, and things you guys have done to be successful in this. But the difference mentally when you're conquering an endurance challenge versus an acute, intense, short burst type physical challenge, right? So what are the thoughts that you have to use to keep yourself going when you're doing something that is like, I don't know, a mile run or Alex freaking Spartan race versus the thoughts and cues that you use when you're doing something like a max effort deadlift or like a sprint, right? Because those are two very different places mentally in my experience. The same motivation, the same self-talk that I have when I'm doing like a max effort deadlift it's very different than the self-talk when I'm trying to endure a Spartan race, right? When I'm trying to stay in an ice bath for 10 minutes or something like that. There's going to be physical tasks on this retreat that require both the endurance and the acute intensity. So I want to talk about mental models we can use to motivate ourselves to accomplish both. Does that make sense, y'all? Awesome. Okay. So kind of open it up, and Alex, I'd love to hear your perspective on this, but what are some things you tell yourself when you're doing something like a max effort deadlift to get yourself motivated to do it versus when you're doing something like a Spartan race?
So I think this is situational to everybody. This little nugget between your ears up here is so easy to trick. You got to learn how, and I've learned a lot of different things about myself and my mindset that really gets me going. We were laughing in the client success chat a few weeks ago because they're like, we thought Alex was fighting demons at Spartan race. Really, he's just dancing to the Jackson 5 because like I like classical music like Jackson 5 and Whitney Houston. That's what I'm listening to in the gym sometimes, just bouncing around, having a good time, man. Like I love it. And, you know, there's so many different mindsets that come into play. Like when I'm running an endurance race, dude, I'm just trying to get happy. I'm trying to get myself out of the mindset of this is shitty, I'm running, to this is happy, and start singing, getting a beat, because then you forget about the pain. And one famous thing I was doing a few weeks ago, I was running a half marathon just around town for shits and giggles. I had never done it and I wanted to do it. And about mile 6, I said, people around my town, whoever seen me probably think I was nuts because I had headphones on and I wanted to quit so bad. And I just belted out from the top of my lungs, who's going to carry the boats? That old David Goggins line, you know what I mean? And dude, I was invigorated in that moment by saying those words. And every moment that I wanted to quit, I just kept saying that, who's going to carry the boats?
Yeah.
So dancing around deadlifting a max to I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. But if my mindset's in a different place and I need to dig deep to some pain and some misfortune in my life, I think about myself and the pain and the misfortune I put on people during drug addiction. And I hate myself for that. And I'm like, you know what, baby? Oh,
Oof.
we're gonna kill 26-year-old Alex. He's dead, man. Let's fucking get this.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I'm getting amped up like Jared, but it's situational to whatever point I'm at in my mind, because I've realized that if you can get, no matter what you do, if you need to dig for pain, if you need to dig for happiness, whatever you need in that moment, if you learn that you don't have to stay in the moment, you can dig for something to get you out of it, to give you that strength. It's truly amazing, because this thing up here is going to tell you to quit way before you can actually quit, man. I'll tell you what, you are capable of so many different things that you sell yourself short on. And once you start doing them, it's a pose, and I'll quit after this and somebody can segue off it. But imagine lifting by yourself compared to lifting or running with somebody else. You are almost always going to push yourself more. If you think you can only run 1 mile by yourself, run with somebody else. I bet you can run 5, because you have that energy. And guess what? You both may want to quit, but you're going to dig off each other's energy and be like, I don't want to tell him I want to quit. He's over there thinking, I don't want to tell him I want to quit either. Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
You have so much in you.
My God, man. Powerful, man. Alex, I appreciate you. Truly appreciate you being here and just speaking life into these guys, because I think what you're saying is very powerful, especially coming from somebody who's done what I consider to be extreme physical tasks, especially with the Spartan races. The point that I really hung on to from what you were saying was the fact that you can use and leverage like those feelings of happiness and positivity, or you can leverage like the negative emotion, which is equally as powerful, right? But I found myself specifically in the Spartan race, and when I do endurance events, and whenever I'm in ice baths, leaning more on the positivity, more on the happiness. Like when I was running the Spartan race, dude, I was running next to Jack, and I was literally like halfway through when you start to get kind of tired, saying out loud, passing all the people, everyone was probably thinking I was crazy, like, man, like, this is such a beautiful day. What else would you rather be doing other than running through the woods? Just screaming out this in complete happiness. But when you see videos of me when I was in my powerlifting days doing the max deadlifts, like 30 seconds before the deadlift, like it's like, don't talk to Gabe. Like, if don't bump into him, like he will eat you alive. Like he's gonna kill someone. But both are useful, right? Both are useful. Really good point. Cool. All right. What other perspectives do y'all have? Jack, I'd like to hear your perspective, man, on this. Like, what are some mental models? What are some emotions that you lean on in situations of more endurance versus like momentary short bout intensity?
I think I just kind of put emotional stakes on it. I kind of like say like, oh, if I can do this, like the rest of the week will go well, kind of thing. So I frame it like in that mind, and then just like, yeah, especially like with the ice baths, getting towards those last like 2 or 3 minutes. It's like, come on, like if you just get through these last 2 minutes, then you'll like have a really good week. Everything else will go to your plan, and then yeah, I mean, like the other thing as well is just like I would say those are social commitments as well. Just like when you tell someone you're going to complete the race. I know when I did like the half marathon a while ago, when you tell people that you're going to complete the race, you just like goes through your mind is like, oh, I've told these people I'm going to complete it. I told these people I'm going to push through, so I have to keep going. And even if it's really like late, even if it's a lot of time, then you're going to complete it.
Yeah.
Let me one point on that, because the social commitment thing is huge. This past weekend on Twitter, I did a 10x10 squat challenge. Didn't even plan to do it. I just went to the gym like, I'm going to do 10x10. Posted on Twitter. I'm like, oh, 10x10 squats on a Sunday. Okay. I posted 2 videos. I'm like, I want to quit. And I'm like, shit, I posted this on Twitter. And then I had to go through with it. Granted, only 2 people liked it. Don't give a shit. That power of a social accountability is so huge. It's insane. You tell anybody, you tell this group, you tell your mom, you tell your dad, you tell your sister, you tell anybody. It's like, oh no, some switches.
Yeah. Man, I view the social commitments as not even like a tool in the toolbox. I almost view those as just like a default requirement in any area of life. They're just so powerful that it's more than a cherry on top. Man, the social commitments are way more than just a cherry on top. I love that you leverage those, Jack. I love that you leverage those, Alex. Stuff. Yeah, I think about that sometimes too. Especially when I have those days where I'm like, I don't really feel like going today, or you kind of start justifying why you don't necessarily need to go. My immediate social commitment is all of y'all. Like, man, I'm socially committed to setting the example for these gentlemen, for leading these gentlemen in this area of life. Like, I have to go because of my social commitment to all these other. You can imagine how powerful that is, right? So yeah, social commitments are extremely powerful. Good stuff. Daniel, what about you, man?
As I think about it more, I feel like I'm kind of like in the midst of finding what works best. Like kind of like trying some different things out. But I think a lot of it is just required, like that has kind of brought about a lot more honesty within myself, you know? So it's like, well, Daniel, if you say you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Like, do you really mean it? Because you're still dabbling, you know? And so like, you know what, I hate hearing that, but you're right, you know? So it's like, if I really am going to say that I'm going to give up, you know, a whole ton of stuff, then like, what am I waiting for, you know? And so if I'm just going to continue to hold on, you know, that's really selfish of me, you know? I'm trying to say I'm going to be a better person, you know? And so it's like, so I would say the big thing that's been kind of like getting to me more is like the truth of it all, you know? It's just like, if I don't do this, like, then I'm really just kind of like I'm calling myself a liar. But if I do this, then guess what? God is shining
who I
through
say
me,
I
you
am.
know? Yeah, exactly. I am who I say I am. God is shining through me tenfold more than
So
I
you're
could
gonna
have ever imagined, because I'm not relying on me. I'm relying on God to get it done, because this is what he put on my heart to begin with, you know? And so, oh my gosh, one of the scriptures I read yesterday was, you know, Jesus said, you know, I can't be a testimony for myself. So therefore he has another witness, and that witness is God himself when he was here on earth, you know? And so it's like, you know, I'm done taking myself at my own word. You know, when I say like, I'm going to be a good worker, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, you know, it's like, God will be my witness, and I'm tired of like kind of being deceptive about it. And so, when it comes to like kind of motivators, when it comes to like in the middle of a workout, I think a lot about, you know, it's kind of like, well, this is who I've said I'm going to be, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, you know? And so, you know, one thing I remember, like, again, like this is kind of like when I'm just kind of like learning, but when I was like, one thing that I always tell me when it comes to like endurance or even get out another rep, it's just like, oh, you got one more. It's just like, even if I don't, I'm going to tell myself I got another to see if this really is my limit, you know? And so when it comes to like running, I would do the 45-second, I would do like the 30-second run, and then like minute walk, 30-60, 30-60. And I would always go, okay, you're going to get to this, like, you're going to get to the basketball hoop before you stop running. It's just like, oh wait, no, you're going to go to the Jeep now.
Give yourself
no,
a
you're going to
landmark.
get to the corner. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you got more in the tank. You got more in the tank. And so it's just like that in and of itself has been really good for me. It's just like, oh, you got another. And then it's just like, and then there's kind of like a place, again, I'm learning my limit. So, but that mentality of like, oh, I got one more. And then when I'm with my buddy, it's just like tenfold, like excel, like, oh, I got another, you know? And so, yeah. And then I can't shake this, but when I was like starting to talk with a girl back in October, like I had one of the best workouts of my life because she wasn't texting me back, and I was so angry. So I don't know.
The best pre-workout in the world, baby.
Yeah. So that I can't shake that. I don't like being angry, but I'm like, interesting. I'm gonna kind of take note of that.
Dude,
So.
yeah, man, that's fantastic stuff, right? Setting yourself those mental landmarks, right? Because I can't remember if this is a quote, or I can't remember exactly where I learned this, but it's the principle that things feel a lot more painful when we don't know when they're going to end, right? So like, if I had to ask you to, I don't know, just even walk, and I just wasn't going to tell you when to stop walking, like that would be like, yo, like I don't want to do that, right? But if you're just like, walk to the fridge, you're like, yeah, cool, I can walk to the fridge, right? So giving yourself those mental landmarks makes things feel just perceptually less painful. It's right there. I can endure that one more rep, that 2 more reps, that 3 more reps versus the set of 20 that I actually have to hit, right? So really good stuff.
Yeah.
Mental landmark.
And it's like also too, like that that mentality of like, I'm gonna get 1% better, you know, in this workout. Like I just am. And so it's just like, you know, especially when I look at leg day, it's just like goblet squats, you know, and doing like a 70-pound dumbbell. It's like, but it's just like, nope. I did 65 last week. I'm gonna do 70 this week. That's just how it's gonna go, you know. So it's like I got no say in the matter. This is my PR that I'm at right now. So if I'm gonna get a PR today, that's what I'm gonna do. That's just how it goes. So, but yeah, oh no, who's gonna carry the boats? Who's gonna move? Like who's gonna carry the logs? Oh my gosh, like
Kills me, man. Kills me.
Yeah.
And then sometime in the gym, I'll pull the old Ronnie Coleman, lightweight, baby, lightweight,
Mhm.
baby.
lightweight. Yes, I say that a lot
Lightweight.
actually. It's just kind of like instinctive now.
Light, baby. Yeah, there's gonna be moments on this retreat where we're setting these events up in a way where the intention, like our goal, is to put y'all in positions where the mind wants to give up, where you tell yourself and start to justify logically why you should quit or hold back intensity. So be prepared for that. And that's why strategically we're having this call. These will not be challenges that are like, oh yeah, I can do that. These are gonna be things you're like, what the fuck, Jack, dude, and Joey. I paid for the shit. What the fuck? Like that's the goal. That's the goal. So having those mental models is absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary, right? A point that I'll make here that is based on anecdotes, just that we're all kind of talking about, but also based on some science, is the idea that in different situations, whether it's an endurance type event or a high intensity type event, leaning on, and I won't say like pain or negativity, I'll just say negative emotion, right? Like slight anger is beneficial in short-term bursts, right? Think like fight or flight, think fear, right? Like how do you react when like you're watching a scary movie and something like jumps out, like whoa, like your whole body like tenses up, like your muscles tense up and just jolt, right? Like it is useful for in moments of short-term intensity to just dabble in that negative emotion when necessary. Like one more rep on the hack squat, like come on, you fucking pussy, like that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then in moments of more endurance, it is very useful to take yourself from that high panic, high stress state to a little bit of a lower stress state, right? Like when I'm in an ice bath and you're in minute 3, like I've never found success in being like, come on, just stick it out, you got this. Like in an ice bath in minute 3, it's always like, calm, we're okay, ice is good, like very calm. Because naturally, what's going to make the ice bath harder is when your heart rate actually goes into panic mode, right? Same thing in the runs, like especially in those last miles, like other than maybe the last like home stretch where you see the finish line, it's like go, 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 go. It's like keep everything calm. Don't let that heart rate get out of control, right? Endure this. It's okay. You don't feel the pain. So just keep that in mind, guys. Anybody have any other comments when it comes to like mental models that they'd like to share that they think would be beneficial to other people on the team here? Go for it, Jared.
2 things. One is just when you guys talk about this carrying the boats, I don't know the background story to that, but I want to tell you. Okay, I have an idea what it might be about, but I want to talk about burning the boats. So Stephen Furtick does a whole sermon on this, and there's it was like a war tribe. And they showed up at this island and they were like outnumbered, and this enemy was like raiding their camp, attacking them, killing them, and they had to do something about this, and they were badly outnumbered. And so when they showed up, this was like, okay, we've got to take these guys out or we're finished, like this is our shot. And what they did is they actually burned their boats, so they had no way of going back. They could only go forward. And that was the motivation for them, right? Like there's no bitching out here. We're burning our escape plan, and we're only got one way to go, and that's forward. And then there's a whole sermon that Stephen Furtick does on that. And I think of like, okay, what does that look like in a real life example for us? And I think of like, there was a call we had a while back where a guy was talking about, you know, when he lost weight, he threw out all his clothes that were his old size, right? He's like, I don't need these anymore, right? You know, if you keep those old jeans in the closet that are 2-3 sizes too big, you know, you've always got that crutch. So he burned his boat by throwing out his old pants, right?
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of a cool thing. You know, even when I went to the gym, they were talking about 2 week at a time, taking the money out of your account. No, I burned the boat. I signed up for a year. And I'm like, if I bitch out after a month, I'm paying for 11 more months here. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of like a cool thing to share, even though it's not really related to, you know, long-term versus short gain. The second thing, I wanted to flip something upside down on you guys a little bit. This fucked me up. It's an Andrew Huberman concept. We all like our Andrew Huberman. So I was listening to a video last night of his, and he was talking about not doing things simply for the reward. He was saying that, let's say you put an end goal in your mind. Okay, this is why I'm doing this. It's for this reward. What's going to happen is you're training your brain to only work towards that reward, and you're going to actually screw up your dopamine, and you're going to hate the process.
Yeah.
He's saying enjoy the process, right? So when you're at that gym, and I do 2 hours, not because I diddle, I just friggin' love it there. And my wife gives me shit. I get home, she does that 45. If you guys know F45, the Mark Wahlberg 45-minute soccer mom workout. Yeah. So, and I'm like, no, I just like it. And, you know, I tell Alex, I always try to mix in a couple extra sets, and I just love it. And I get my cardio, and it's like, I'm enjoying the process. I'm not going to the gym just because I have this image in my mind of this is the body I want, because then you're just going to hate the process. So I just think it's an overall like training tactic where it's like, and this really flipped it upside down to me, is like, stop doing things for a reward and start thinking as you're burning on that 9th rep, that 10th rep, that 11th rep, 12, it's killing me. I enjoy the way that makes me feel.
Yeah.
Right. And that really stood out to me. And I was like, are we enjoying the things that we're doing as we're going through the process? And that's something I'm just kind of keeping in my mind this week as I do my workouts.
That's a powerful point. I think that's what makes, like we've been talking about, intentional discomfort very valuable, which these exercises on the retreat will be, because a pattern that you can fall into really easily, especially once you learn a lot about health and fitness and training, is I'm only doing, and this is valid on one side of the equation, I'm only doing exercises that actively move me towards my goals, right? Like my goal is not to be a runner. So like, why would I run? Why would I do a Spartan race? Like that's where my mind was, honestly, when they first brought up the idea. I was like, I don't care about running. I don't want to be a Spartan race champion. Like, that's just not my goal. In fact, my goals are the complete opposite. So why would I do that? But that's exactly what Jared's talking about, on only doing things because there's a specific reward, where I could have done it purely for the practice of going through something difficult. Right. I could have done it just to go through the process. And that's a value I found in it, is I'm going to go through this process. I'm going to do a few runs. I'm going to go through the Spartan race. And yes, I was sore for like a week after it. Sorry, there's Joey hitting me with the FaceTime. But I was sore for like a week after it. Took me out of jiu-jitsu training for a day and a half, but I did the process, right? I didn't make any gains per se towards my specific goals that day, but I enjoyed the process. So I think it's a really valuable point, Jared. Thank you for sharing that, brother.
Yeah, I think making yourself, you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Just making yourself uncomfortable means there's only growth that comes when you're uncomfortable, right? And it's just like anything in life, right? And I truly believe that, you know, even the ice baths, and I'm working on that, and my cold showers, and I'm working my way up. And it's like, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not challenging yourself, right? So I think that's something that you almost start to, once you recognize that, you start to embrace it, you know? Yeah. So I'm finding that.
Ice bath is another interesting example too, because we could talk about this on a very logical level. Like, ice baths technically on paper are probably actually disadvantageous for like building muscle. Like they're just not the best thing you can do. You don't build more muscle by doing ice baths, right? You're decreasing your body temperature. You're lowering the inflammatory response that builds muscle momentarily. But think about the practice you're getting in enduring something so physically challenging that your entire being wants to pop out of the ice bath, right? Like, you don't need to do everything for a specific on paper direct reward, right? There's no ROI, right? Like, you can do things purely for the practice of going through a difficult process and getting better at that.
What does-
Comfort is a core
what-
idol. I was just gonna say this one point quick and then I'm out. Comfort is a core idol that a lot of men face. And it's something that we've got to tackle it head on, because there is no place of comfort that's not something that our mind wants to take the path of least resistance, right? And that need for control or comfort and significance is something as men, Timothy Keller talks about it. It's a core idol that we need to tackle, and a lot of other issues and different things, substance abuse, anything like that, sexual abuse, sexual addiction, everything comes from that sense for comfort. So breaking out of that mold is it's amazing. Anyways,
It's
thanks,
required.
guys.
Yeah. Dude, thank you, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Guys, got a few more minutes here. Open up for a few questions if you have them about training from this past week. Feel free to shout them out. And if not, we'll wrap it up.
I just want to say about the process, what you become in the process is far more important than the dream.
Yes. Great quote. Great quote. Weed it. Weed it. I love it, man. What you become in the process is far more important than the dream. That's fantastic.
And to segue off that great quote to another great quote from the philosopher Nietzsche, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Nobody is going to die in the ice bath. Hopefully. You're signing waivers.
And Jared will know this. If you finish the Dopamine Nation book, she starts to talk about that at the end of the book. And she talks about that study they did with the dog and putting him through pain and the pleasure-pain balance. And ironically, the more physical, voluntary pain you put yourself in, the stronger and more enduring you will be down the road. I'm the perfect example. I went through the worst period of my life with drug addiction, jail, blah, 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 withdrawal a billion times. Most horrible time. I'm the most optimistic person ever now. Ever.
Same.
Yes. Amazing. Guys, powerful training tactics call. You guys have an amazing, blessed rest of your evenings. If you guys are going to be seeing us in Nashville, man, 2 freaking days. Jack, I'll see you there. Drew, I'll see you there, brother. Daniel, I'll see you there. Man, guys, let's freaking go. Have an amazing rest of your day.
Yep.
Yeah, gentlemen.
Have a great time, guys.